Allison, welcome to my channel. Today I'm really excited because I'm going to be talking to you about some tips and tricks you can use to buy clothes really cheaply. I'm going to be sharing my clearance shopping hacks with you today, so I hope you'll stick around to find out how I buy clothes really cheaply. So a while back I watched a video of a YouTuber who, I'm not going to say who it was, but they were trying to do some clearance shopping and they failed horribly. They couldn't find anything, they did everything wrong, and I was watching it and I was like, why is this person not having any success? And I realized that they had no idea how to shop a clearance rack at any kind of store. I was like, oh, I could probably teach people some tricks to find things really inexpensively. So if you're going to shop, and this is specifically, I'm going to be talking about clothing today, there's other things for other stores, but for clothes, my first tip is going to be to go to the back of the store. This isn't for every store, but most clothing stores put their clearance in the very back of the stores. In fact, the way stores are set up, they put whatever's the most recently coming into the store at the front of the store, so anything in the front of the store is almost always going to be more expensive. Your more expensive things are always those front displays. Anytime you walk into a store, you want to walk right past all the stuff in the front and just make a beeline for the back of the store, because that is where the cheap stuff is. So again, we'll have to dig around a little bit, but once you get to the back of the store, you can usually find clearance racks there, and that is where stuff is marked down. It's usually just stuff out of season, and that's when you can start your journey of buying cheap clothes. So I hope that's a little bit helpful for you. So my next step for you is to check all of the racks. This is really important because people, when they're shopping clearance, if they don't know, they will just go to whatever size they wear and they will check just that rack, and then if they don't see anything, they leave. But the way clearance racks are assigned, people, even if they're divided by size, people will pick up a shirt and then they'll carry it over somewhere and they'll put it on the other side of the rack. And the store employees usually don't check the clearance racks constantly, they kind of just leave them be. So a lot of times you'll find one size on the wrong rack. So when you're looking through the clearance rack, you want to look at all the shirts. And I think that'd probably take all day, but what I do is I'll just scan through a rack and I'll look for fabrics I like, I'll look for colors, I'll look for anything that jumps out at me, and I check sizes that I do not wear. I'll go to like the XXX sizes, I'll go to the extra smalls, and I will dig through those racks for shirts I like, and I just pull them out and I look at the size, and a lot of times I can find my size, put it that way, where someone has just picked it up and put it in the wrong spot, and I get a lot of really cute clearance things that way because they just sit there and the stores don't check. So it's really helpful if you just look through everything. Don't just ignore the other sizes. Spend some time looking through everything because you will find some deals that way, and it's very useful. Now this is actually, I think, the most important tip that I have, and that is to shop off-season. Don't wait until summer has started to go buy your summer clothes. The best time to buy clothes for the summer is actually probably in the fall, and the best time to buy your winter clothes is usually like February or March is when they start marking down all of their coats and sweaters. I usually will go to the store and buy a couple of sweaters in like March. Where I live, that's when they start marking things down, and it might vary depending on where you live. But as soon as things become unpopular with people wanting to buy them, that's when they will have the huge markdowns. A lot of times you can find things that are like 75 to 90% off at some stores. A lot of times I'll get a pair of shorts. If I buy it in the winter, it might be a $20 to $30 pair of shorts, and I can often get them for $4 or $5. And I will just buy them and I'll put them in a closet and hold on to them. And then the next summer, when it's time for new clothes, it's like a surprise. I go through my little stash that I have, and it's like I have a whole new wardrobe I forgot that I even bought. And it will usually have only spent just a tiny amount of money, so that saves me a lot of money, and it allows me to freshen up my wardrobe. And a lot of people, will encourage buying, things from thrift stores, and I think that's great too. But I found I can get really good deals with clearance that sometimes are cheaper than what I can get at the thrift stores. So I use a little of both to get good deals. My number 4 tip is that you need to inspect the clothes you're buying off the clearance rack. A lot of times there are things that might be stained or broken that end up in the clearance section. So if you are going to buy something on clearance, make sure you pick it up and look at the whole front, the back. Make sure there are no stains or loose threads or things that are torn, because sometimes that's why they're on clearance. you just don't want to get something home and buy it and you realize you have to take it back or that you can't wear it. So just be careful what you're buying, but don't let that stop you. And that's actually going to lead me into my next point, is that you can modify the things that you buy in the clearance. Say you find a really cute shirt for a couple of dollars, but it's missing a button. It's really easy to sew a button onto a shirt. In fact, my very first video on here is actually how to sew a button. So, it's easy to fix things. If you learn just some really basic sewing or modification stuff, you can change things around to fit you a little bit more. You can find something and make it wearable, even if it's not exactly what you wanted. So look into doing that. My next tip is, this kind of depends on the store, but it's going to be to ask for a lower price. And this usually is useful if, like I said before, you find something that has like a missing button or a stain, and it depends on where you're at, but you could sometimes go up to an employee and say, hey, this shirt is missing a button. Is there any chance I could get a lower price on it? And some places will lower a few dollars off of a price of something if it's damaged in some way. So just keep that in the back of your mind if you're trying to really, negotiate a better deal for yourself. It doesn't hurt to ask. The worst they can tell you is no. My next tip is to use coupons and to use apps. And this also depends on the store. Some places will let you use coupons with their clearance, and some places will not. I think Kohl's is really good. They'll actually let you use pretty much any coupon on top of their clearance, and they often will have things that are 75 to 90% off, and then you can take a 20% coupon on top of that. And I've gotten shirts for $2 or $3 that way, just by combining. And you get Kohl's Cash, which is like extra money. You can then go back and buy more stuff. So I can update my wardrobe for hardly anything that way if I use some sort of budget app. And I may actually do a video on here that's just apps to save you money or something, because there are a lot of really useful apps that will give you coupons to different stores, and you can use that to save money. So I hope that's a helpful tip for you. My number 8 tip is going to be just to know your stores. It's really helpful if you shop at stores that you're familiar with. You know how they're laid out, you know where to go, knowing the layout of the store, knowing where things are will save time because you can negotiate your way through the store more quickly. And knowing the employees is a little bit helpful too. They might give you some tips of where things are. If you become friends with them, they might say, hey, we got this great new deal, look at this. Or just taking the time to even understand the layout of a store will help you save money in it, because you'll understand how the merchandising works, how you're being advertised to. Some stores put things like they'll play happy music, they'll pump in scents that smell good to sort of stimulate you to buy things. And if you're aware that's happening, you can kind of consciously ignore it so you're not as influenced to impulse spend. Just understand your surroundings. It'll save you some money. So hopefully that's helpful. And my last tip for you is to have an open mind. When you go into a store, it really helps if you're clearance shopping to not be looking for something really specific. Go in sort of with this idea of, I'm going to buy whatever speaks to me once I see it, because it's really hard to find something specific if you're shopping on a clearance rack. You can't find a sweater in a specific color and shape, or maybe you want a certain jacket, but you're probably not going to find that on the clearance rack. You have to really be open to whatever is available at that time. So just be willing to work with what's in front of you. Go in and just see what kind of deal you can find. And I also do a subscriber shout out at the end of my videos. Today I'm going to be saying hi to Goddiiz59. Apparently my cat is saying hello too. So thank you for subscribing, and thank you for coming by. I hope you all have a beautiful day today. So thanks. Bye.